All right. So today we just wanted to run through Norwescap's service footprint, the programs that we run ourselves, just so that you can get a little understanding of the resources that we have, but then also to see, how can we partner with each other in the future to make it seamless for households and participants in our footprint. All right, so just background on Norwescap. We are a community action program, CAP agency, founded in 1965 under the Johnson's administration on fighting the war on poverty. We work to be the bridge between federal and state assistance programs with to the community's ability to access those resources. It can be quite complicated sometimes, so that's really the work that we're trying to do. You can see our mission statement here on the screen. I'd just like to call out that our work really revolves around improving the lives of community members. So in that vein, every 3 years, we do a community needs assessment where we conduct listening sessions with members of the community, participants of our programs, and we just try and hear out, what are the pain points that people are experiencing and what are the obstacles in their way of trying to gain their aspirations and their hopes and dreams. So we actually just conducted that last year. So in the coming months, we're going to be putting that onto our website and making that publicly facing of, here's what we heard and learned. And then that plan actually goes into our strategic planning sessions where we can figure out how we want to navigate for the next 3 years. And then we reconduct that survey. So this year's was really eye-opening, especially since the one before that was done in 2019, just before COVID. So a lot of the things we planned for kind of went awry immediately. So now it's nice to get another touch point in there. From an operational standpoint, Norwescap has about 25-30 different programs that we offer. And we have a staff count of around 270 people. So pretty large, covering New Jersey. This is what our footprint looks like. The red dots represent where our participants are kind of coming from. So we serve the 5 northwest counties of New Jersey. As Philip had indicated, we do Hunterdon, Morris, Somerset, Sussex, and Warren. And then the blue dots here, the little houses are our locations. So you can see that we are kind of strategically placed throughout our 5 counties. Our headquarters is in Phillipsburg. So that's why there's kind of a concentration of blue dots there. And we serve approximately 30,000 participants annually between all of our direct service programs and then some of the work that our food bank does with its distributions. So this just hopefully will help illustrate, where we are serving. You do see some red dots outside of our footprint. So if we don't have 100% overlap with where your participants are coming from, you can still, feel free to send them over towards us, and we usually are able to connect them with resources that pertain to their county. So that's one of our guiding principles, is that, we don't say no. We if we can't provide the service, we do our best with finding a way that participants can receive a service still. So our work really falls under 6 categories that we call domains. You can see the 6 up here. And I will go into each one just a little bit, not trying to make everybody an expert in this, because Brittany and I have been here for multiple years and we're still learning about new programs and how things work. So I just wanted to give you a general idea of how our work kind of spreads out. So I'll start off with education real quick. One of our beliefs is that everyone should have equal and opportunity to high-level education experiences. So our programs range from childhood with our early Head Start and Head Start programs, serving in that kind of daycare and preparing for elementary school classes, all the way up through our degree up program, which helps participants of college age. We do some high school age, and then we also have adult education classes that kind of fall into some of our other domains with employment coaching and financial coaching. But you can kind of see that we've checked off which counties these are in. So between all of our programs, we can mostly serve all of our footprint. There is, some limitations on where we can operate some of these programs based on funding or other nonprofits in the areas that we can't encroach on their turf. But like I said, if it's something that we can't offer, we can figure out, what is in a participant's area. Our employment domain focuses on helping participants navigate that complicated space of interviewing, resume writing. What do you wear on an interview is something that gets asked a lot, and it's these questions that people don't really talk about that often. So a lot of our programs help with some of those like intricacies of seeking a job, but then also like once you have a job, what do you do? What are your next steps? How do you maintain it? How do you keep that on your resume? How do you talk about what you do? So that falls into a few programs here. We have employment coaching that's hosted by our AmeriCorps members. Those operate in every one of our counties. We have a lot of adult education classes on employment through our Pathways to Prosperity. That's focused on Sussex residents. And then our Career and Life Transition Center does a lot of employment coaching. They have a lot of different classes on how to use computers to the best of your abilities, how to kind of like gain the confidence in that area. Financial employment or empowerment is a pretty robust category as well for us. Like I mentioned, we have a lot of financial coaching also hosted by our AmeriCorps members, but we also do basically everything from coaching and educating on like how do I keep a budget, how do I learn how to improve my credit score, how does that affect everything that goes on in my life. We do loan programs as well. We do individual development accounts or IDAs where we can help participants set a goal of what they want to pay for in the future, a savings program, and then we can do a match program with that. So we can help participants go from not having any funds to having that way of living a thriving and stable life. And then one of our bigger ones too that we're trying to figure out how do we connect with the library system is our VITA tax prep program, where we do free tax preparation. So we've saved, hundreds of thousands of dollars on what people would have to pay for either like TurboTax software or accountants or things like that. And then we've generated millions of federal and state returns to participants. So that's money that people would normally lose on just because they don't have access to filing. That was also really helpful when the child tax care credit came out, because a lot of our participants were first-time filling out their tax forms. So that's money that would have been just lost. Our health and nutrition bucket kind of just recently got all grouped under each other. We're doing big strides here on making sure that all these programs kind of talk to each other. So this, one of our new programs is our SNAP assistance. It can be really complicated filling out applications for SNAP benefits. So we just created a program that supports participants in that. So they do that either on the phone, virtually. They're going to in-person events to talk with people, help them navigate that sphere. So we're really excited about that program as the SNAP benefits are kind of facing that cliff of changes as well. But this bucket also serves expecting mothers or new mothers through our WIC program, obtain those food vouchers. That's been going really well. We're getting back to in-person over the summer. All that's been kind of virtual, but that's been going really good. And then our food bank also distributes to over 100 food pantries throughout those 3 counties listed here. So they really touch a lot of different areas within, making sure that people have access to healthy and nutritious options. But then this bucket also is all about, chasing after healthcare, which can be really complicated nowadays. And then our housing and community development bucket or domain is probably our largest service providing domain, especially with that top line item of our LIHEAP energy services. So we also do the application process for participants in that. As it is one of our most popular, it is pretty hard to get booking times with them. So we have heard from participants that is, our phone lines are pretty busy over there. We've moved into the scheduling opportunity where you can book appointments with our staff. So we're constantly looking for ways to evolve in that area. So just keep that in mind when you're referring over. But that is something that through our website, you can just directly reach out to that program as opposed to kind of going through an intermediary like Brittany's team. The rest of our programs, though, are all about, focusing on helping people either, maintain their housing situation or improve their housing situation. One of our major goals at Norwescap is to make sure that everyone has safe and affordable housing. So a lot of our programs are focused on that as well. And then our last domain is our volunteerism and civic engagement bucket. So this is where we have a lot of different volunteer opportunities that you can find on our website through like a Get Connected Now button. We have our partnership with AmeriCorps that I mentioned. So we have volunteers through the state that serve in our kind of like 3 different areas, either our financial coaches, employment coaches, or on Brittany's team as our engagement partners, which we'll talk about next. And then we also have our RSVP program, our Retired Senior Volunteer Program, which is kind of all this about this like connection with the elderly, as we want to make sure we're serving every part of our population. So a lot of these are like telephone reassurance or friendly visitor, just to make sure everyone's kind of getting checked in with and feeling seen and heard. So our engagement partner program is relatively new. We founded it right when kind of COVID hit. The whole point of this program is to be an initial touch point for any new participants. So anyone that goes through our website for assistance, we'll immediately connect them with an engagement partner. Their purpose is really to serve in these 3 functions of assessing needs, linking the family to those 2 services and resources. Like I said, if it's something we can provide directly, we'll get them in touch with the right people. If it's something that's kind of outside of our footprint or outside of our capabilities, we do offer, follow-up on resources that might be helpful. And then we do provide follow-up over, either a couple months, a couple weeks, daily, really depending on whatever the household need is. Our initial assessment with whenever anyone reaches out to us is just to get a gauge on what the family needs are. We do an assessment every 6 months with that family for as long as they continue to need our services, so we can kind of track their progress over time, and that gives us a metric into seeing how impactful is the engagement partner program. And over the past 3 years, we've seen that a lot of families have been moved from like these in crisis or struggling buckets on their scores up to safe and stable, and with our ultimate goal to get them into this like thriving category. So I know that's a lot of information really quickly. I think the takeaway for today, though, should just be, how do you connect with Norwescap? So the best way to do that is going through our website. We just launched a new website. We're really excited about it. And there's kind of like 2 different pathways that you can take on that. Either somebody who just wants to support Norwescap, learn about what we're doing. There's lots of like blog posts on there. There's volunteer opportunities. There's ways to donate and just stay connected with our newsletters. So you'll see that through kind of like a support branch on the website. We also have like a get assistance. So that's kind of the second pathway for anyone looking to, sign up to talk to an engagement partner and just have their needs assessed and have a conversation with somebody, as opposed to, navigating that space on their own. So that's kind of prominently featured on the website. So this is just a snapshot of what the website looks like. A couple of things I would want to call out is in the top right, you'll see that there is a in English option. So it defaults to English, but if you're working with anyone speaking Spanish or any other language, you can toggle onto that. So it's more comfortable to navigate as opposed to trying to like figure your way out through that space. Contacting us is probably the best way to reach out to Brittany's team, the engagement partners. When you go to that page, it does also offer you options to directly link to specific programs if you know what your need is and you don't really want to go through that intermediary party, or go right to our energy assistance, as that is one of our bigger ones. So the contact us page is pretty good with setting up those appointments. Our resource library is another tool that, again, if you're kind of in that self-service mode, our resource library has a number of services that we commonly recommend, like a 211 service or anything else like that. You can filter that down by the county that you're in or the need that you have. And it should come up with a couple of resources if we have something matching that description. So should be pretty user friendly to navigate there. And then our news and events tabs right in the middle is something that we're really excited about. It was pretty difficult to know what events our programs were running. So we just launched a new calendar with updated events on there. So it's pretty easy to interact with Norwescap and our programs. But that's also where you can find like our blog posts and any like things that we're proud of in the news or anything like that, any new grants we receive. So that's just a way to keep up to date with what's going on at Norwescap. And then here's just a snapshot of our events calendar. So if you do hit that news and events, one of the options on the dropdown is our calendar of events. And here you can filter it, by keyword search or by program or by county that you're looking for. So if you wanted to go to an event in Warren County in May, you can just filter for that and it'll show you whatever options are available. So like I said, our Career and Life Transition Center is running a lot of programs on computer education, as well as any things like that. So a lot of that is coming up in May. So that's something exciting to look into. So that's kind of that's our pitch here. So I know it's a lot of information. We're not expecting everyone to be experts on what we offer, just the general idea that we do offer a lot of services. And the best way to reach out to us if you're ever uncertain if we do offer something or not is just going through that contact us now option on our website and connecting the participant with somebody on our engagement partner team. Their first phone call is going to be assessing needs, understanding what's going on with the family, and then putting them in touch with the proper resources. Any questions?
Yeah, thanks so much, Emmett. I'll lead off so that people can be getting ready to unmute themselves or type into the chat box. And I think I asked this last time, so got to ask it. I'm working on the service desk. Somebody comes up and is asking questions about WIC. What is the fastest way, the quickest way to get that person over to you? What do I tell that person about Norwescap? I say, hey, Norwescap can help you with this. And what's next? How do we make sure that you get their information and can move on with them directly? Oh, you're muted, Emmett.
Yep, got that. Yeah, that's a great question. The best way, I changed the screen over to our website. Hopefully that kept up with me. The best way to do that is just, if you're in a bind and you're trying to answer really quickly and act like the expert, you can go through our What Do We Do page where you can just go to our health and nutrition. And that's going to bring up all of the health and nutrition programs we run, including WIC. So kind of just remembering the general buckets that we offer. That can bring up a page where you can give information specifically on WIC to the person in front of you and give you like information on like who do you have to contact for that or like what's the potential eligibility. So if you want to do like a pre-check there, if you're not confident in that at all, and I totally would understand and probably encourage this, is just going through that, the get help button or the contact us. It's kind of posted everywhere on the website. It's just ways to connect with engagement partners who are a little bit more knowledgeable in that area and how to actually start the process of going through WIC.
Okay. And then because you had a lot of tables there and a lot of check marks, depending on the counties and all that. So let's say for the sake of argument, I'm working in a library that's located in one of those areas that doesn't have the tick mark, but I'm getting a question about that issue. They can still contact you, correct? And you will then put them in touch, even though you're not directly going to be able to help them. You can then say, oh, okay, you have to call blank county department of blank, right? Is that
absolutely?
I had that right? Okay.
Yeah, it can be complicated since our footprint kind of varies a lot by program. Some programs serve them all, some just serve one. So it can be pretty difficult to navigate that on your own. But like I said, one of our principles is to not say no to participants. So if they call us and they're outside of our footprint, WIC is still run within that county, even though we don't serve it. So we have, a good familiarity with the programs that do run over there, so we can get them in touch with somebody, as opposed to playing that, that ring around the rosy game.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Questions? I promise I'll be quiet now. Guess you just had the perfect presentation, Emmett.
Or too much. I also get that effect too.
All right. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we end with going back into your slideshow so that your contact information is up on the screen, and that's where we'll stop the recording.
Absolutely. Yep. So Denise couldn't be here today. She is a co-lead engagement partner with Brittany. So both their emails are up here. And then mine is as well. So if you are having trouble with anything, or if you have ideas, one of the things that we're looking to do is, how do we integrate our services a little bit more? Sometimes getting to our offices can be tricky for participants, but they have ways of getting to the library. So if we can work on, ways of setting up in-person meetings, either in libraries, or if you need to come to our offices for any reasons, that connection, I think, is important for us to make and maintain.
Oh, we have a question from Jerry at Hackettstown.
Yeah, so the question is, do people from Norwescap come to our location to aid patrons who need help? It's something we haven't really explored too much yet. And I think that is something that we should start working on is, if we have services in your county and it's easier for participants to meet there. A lot of our staff is working on this like hybrid work from home versus work from the office. So I think like a lot of organizations, we're kind of, figuring out our ways back into locations. That being said, yeah, I think we can set up those in-person meetings. It just hasn't really been established yet.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind, everybody, you'll probably be hearing more about this, as much as I'm sure the town of Phillipsburg is a wonderful place. It is basically at the exact western extremity of their service area. So I think the farther east you get from Phillipsburg, probably there's room for discussion on that, but that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah, and like I said, we do have offices all over the place within our 5 counties. So, we do have some closer to Hackettstown. We do have some, as far north as Sussex. So there are hopefully, good overlap between where our locations are and where the libraries are.
Good point. I forgot about that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Robert has a question. Robert from Chatham. Mental health services.
Yeah, Brittany, do you want to tackle that one? I've been
Sure.
talking.
That's a great question. At this time, we don't have direct services for mental health needs. It's something that some of our programs have been exploring and trying to get connected with other organizations. But if people are in need of mental health services, we will assist in getting them referrals or finding the resources that they might need. Yeah,
that is a challenge one. So Norwescap isn't really like a crisis hotline. That's one important distinction to make as well. So if somebody is in crisis, 211 is probably still the best option to help them out in that moment. Where Norwescap kind of steps in is like that borderline of just, one thing could go wrong in somebody's life and then they're in crisis. Like we want to try and catch people in that moment where we can help them move forward and upwards on that scale. Yeah, so it looks like Laura asked about our housing services. So let me just pull that one back up real quick. Yeah, so our housing kind of ranges. Our biggest service hitter is our energy assistance, LIHEAP, low income heating and energy assistance program. So we help participants go through the applications of applying for, heating support or other utilities like cooling. We do different programs that help people who are either currently experiencing homelessness or on the verge of. Some of our programs that funding dependent can help out with participants that are behind on rent. And then we do offer other programs like weatherization, where you're trying to make your house more suitable for like not losing air to the outside or having any issues with the housing there. And then in Sussex, we do have a community housing setup that actually is looking for applicants now. So we can, hopefully slide people into there. The only restriction there is that you have to be 62 or older for it.
I guess my question was, do you assist if someone's looking for housing, people with disabilities or low income, do you assist them to find apartments or other housing types?
Yeah, we do our best there. We have like help people who have Section 8 vouchers. We've done Google searches for people that either don't have access to internet or don't understand how to navigate that space. So either engagement partners can kind of sort of help with that. We do have a housing team, so if it kind of goes above their experience level, they'll probably make a referral to that team, who will do a screening process of, do you qualify for one of our programs, or is it something that we have external resources that we know this number is really helpful with that, so we'll send you over to them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, last call for questions. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, thank you all for being with us today. I'll stick around for a couple minutes in case there's any questions. Emmett, Brittany, feel free to do so as well. But I'm going to stop the recording now. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.